What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Beware of Bulldogs podcast. My name is Caleb Nail. That's Caleb Pletz. Caleb, dogs are back in the win column once again. I think we have a winning streak going on. Putting it together. I'm going to hit the music, and then I want to hear about your weekend, and let's do this thing. How we feel about that?
Sounds good. Let's rock and roll.
Hello, Red Wave. Welcome to Beware of Bulldogs podcast. It's been a long week, and it's great to end the week as we start a new one. We ended the last week with a Bulldog win. Dogs defeat San Jose State Spartans 33-10. Caleb, we got it back. We got the score out of the way. We don't need to worry about it. We're good. Boom. Got it in. Okay. We did not do a preview. That is on me. Okay. I apologize. My wife is 38 weeks pregnant, and we had a false alarm happen. And I text Caleb, hey man, sorry. So this baby has been playing with us this whole time. So that's why we didn't get it in. Apologize about that. And then today's actually my wedding anniversary. So we just got back and Brando, now we're doing this. So it was fun. And I did get in most of the game. There was a little bit of the third quarter I missed, but saw the rest of the game. Caleb, you were at the game.
Correct.
So tell me, first off, how was the weekend? And then tell me how the stadium was and how the game was on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a nice weekend. I guess we should thank both our wives again because I think they are the backbone of Beware Bulldogs. So happy anniversary to you and Jasmine. That's very nice. But the weekend was nice. Perfect weather. It was beautiful. A lot of tailgates going on, which was fun. Stadium was good. Definitely was not an actual sellout in terms of butts and seats, but another announced sellout for former Bulldog Stadium, which is good. We need to be selling tickets to get the money for the athletic department. Blackout, I guess it was cool. We didn't get to touch on this and doing a preview, but I'm kind of anti blackout. I'm definitely in the Pat Hill school of thought. And
how old are you, man?
Right? Yeah, 30 going on 60, I guess. But we are the Red Wave, and wish we were in red at home. But I've gone through that too many times on this podcast, so I will save that. I think the black was cool. It was weird though, because a lot of fans were just wearing just a plain black t-shirt or something. Because personally, I wasn't gonna go out and spend $50 to buy a branded Fresno State black shirt. I'm not gonna do that. So sorry. The atmosphere was good. The crowd was loud, and for the most part, I think the crowd stayed for a good amount of the game. Once it got to the fourth quarter, game was pretty much in hand, and people were heading to the exits, which is about what we would expect, especially on a Halloween weekend if they had other activities or stuff to get to. But overall, I think it was a very, very successful weekend at former Bulldog Stadium.
Yeah, it seemed good. Once again on TV, didn't look very full. Just from the TV perspective, it didn't seem very full. Did you see Bulldog Locker? The Bulldog shop, they had a cool reversible jacket. It was like red and black. Red on one side, reversible into black. It was sweet. But what's going on, everybody? It's good to see you here. Randall's here, Robert's here, Derek's here, Bulldogs Bob, Sierra Nevada Sam saw is here. The bomber jacket, Robert says. So it was cool. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Randall already finished some celebratory port from Ficklin. Oh, nice. I wonder what my brother used to be the winemaker there. Fun fact. Cole, who's going to be joining us, by the way, not this weekend, but next weekend, sometime next week, 2 weeks from now, because basketball season starts. It's the home opener in, I think, not this weekend, but next weekend. So Caleb, it's getting here. And by the way, I just got to throw in here, I got a text from Caleb Mr. Plus over here, and it was a photo. This is not football related, but I think it's worth talking about or just bringing up. A photo of Vance Wahlberg running his kids camp, and Caleb noticed that every kid had their shirt tucked in. It's the little things. It's the big difference.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a good sign. I mean, hopefully the team respects him as much as the little kids do. But I mean, it does make a difference when, you're taking practice seriously. I mean, I grew up playing AAU too. And so, I mean, that's something that the coaches harped on. Like, you better show up ready to practice with your shirt tucked in. So just kind of
funny. Thanks for the congratulations, you guys, on the anniversary and baby. And Bulldogs Bob says, my parents were smart. They got married in March. Genius. We did. I hate to say this, but I actually got married on game day, on a Fresno State game day, but they were playing on the island in Hawaii. And we knew they were going to win. We smoked them. So, but anyways, it was don't hold that against me. Okay. Robert's actually with you, Caleb. He said the black reminds me too much of San Diego State, the red and black. And then Randall brings up the crowd left when they canceled the drone show. Caleb,
that's true.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of big. Like they dropped the ball.
I mean, so it was. I thought it was funny, but I mean, when they announced it, I mean, there were people booing, and I mean, the people that were sitting in front of me, they had kids that were probably between 6 and 10 years old, and they were excited to watch the drone show. As soon as they announced it, they just head to the exit, because I think that's all they were staying for at that point. So kind of funny, and I mean, obviously too bad, especially if people were coming specifically for that. But yeah, that is kind of funny that there was a little bit of a blunder there, and something that the athletic department has to make up to the fans at some point.
Brutal, man. World Series was Saturday night as well. I know there's some diehard Dodger fans around here, and I know they were going crazy. I got a text message from my mother-in-law, who has become a huge Dodger fan. She was not a sports fan, but she got a boyfriend who's from Colorado, and so he's a huge Jokic Denver Nuggets fan. So the Nuggets are always on whenever she's over now. He's a big Dodgers fan, so she's a Dodgers fan. We're sitting in Sakura Chaya the other day celebrating her birthday, and she is yelling across the restaurant at Shohei Ohtani, and the entire restaurant's turning and staring at us. And this is tiny 4'0" Filipino woman screaming her lungs out at Shohei Ohtani. It was pretty funny, but that had to play a part as well. By the way, Aaron Judge, our boy, I think he went 1 for 4. I don't know if that was the first game or second game, but they're down 2-0 right now, so they got some games to make up. But let's talk about the reason why we're here: Fresno State football. Caleb, initial thoughts on the gameplay after Saturday.
The defense showed up and made a quick early adjustment. The first drive, giving up a pretty easy touchdown to Nick Nash, who, the most dynamic player on the San Jose State offense. That was disheartening. At first, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a long day, a lot of points for San Jose. But in credit to the Bulldog defense, and whether that was like an actual adjustment that was made or just changing coverages, I don't know. But they did something that worked, and were able to confuse the San Jose State defense. So I think this is kind of showing the blueprint for how this team has to succeed here on out. Is defense has to control it and put the offense in good field position. Because if we look at where most of the touchdowns came, it was after a turnover, and only had to drive half the field as opposed to a full 80-yard drive. So that's kind of the blueprint. Defense is going to have to play lights out and put the offense in position to succeed.
Defense looked really good. I will say this though, Caleb. I think I'd rather put it this way: the defense did their job, because the San Jose State offense was really bad. I mean, Egan looked, other than the first drive, looked not good.
Mhm.
And I mean, granted, they couldn't do much against us on the ground. Total yards on the ground, 101 yards. Chalk had 89. Bates had 30. Those are the Spartans running backs. But it's not like they were dominating us on the ground, and Eget threw the ball to no one. I mean, actually, his favorite target was Cam Lockridge. But he wasn't very good. But defense did their job. Offensively, we put up enough points. We scored, and I mean, we're going to run through it. Today will be a little bit shorter, just so everyone knows, because I did not get up a Instagram and X social media stuff, so we don't have anything from you guys. So, but feel free to leave it in there. We will. I'll run through it on here. Caleb, what is your overall feeling? Actually, I'm going to save that question for the end. Let's do numbers first, and then we'll get to our feelings after this, going into kind of this last stretch of games. Now that the Dogs are 3-1 in conference, 5-3 overall. But let's talk about Mikey. So the coaching staff and even Mikey sitting at his presser after the game, they haven't been quiet on saying that they have heard what the fan base has been saying about Mikey. And I don't think anyone's wrong in what they're saying. Well, it depends on who you talk to. But there have been a lot of there's been a lot of negativity. There's been a lot of expectations that have not been met, let's say, from Mikey by the fan base. What were your thoughts of him after this game?
I think he pretty much played about as well as he can play. We've touched on it a couple of times. I think we've definitely seen Mikey's ceiling, and that when he is able to sit in the pocket and actually make a throw, for the most part, he's going to make a good throw, and the offense is going to be able to move through that. I mean, the first 2 touchdown throws, I think were good plays by the receiver, and he kind of got lucky that with getting away with a below average throw. The first one that Jalen Moss was behind him, he makes a really good adjustment, catches it, and then is able to outrun him. The deep one to Mac, that was just kind of a weird stop underthrow, and got lucky that the DB wasn't looking. But I mean, overall, he was very efficient. It seemed like a lot of times we're kind of back to, he's checking down to either most likely running back, a couple times to tight end, but just hanging him out to dry. I mean, there was probably at least 5 or 6 in this game at checkdowns where, it's a 1 or 2 yard gain, but then the running back just gets blown up because there's a linebacker just closing in. So, I mean, I don't love that, but I think overall, Mikey was consistent. His pick this game, I can't really fault him on that. Kind of a weird tip ball that the defense was able to make a play on. So, still 10 picks on the year, though. Not great. But he did enough this game, and didn't really make any terrible throws. And I think we should credit the offensive line a little bit, because for the most part, they kept Mikey clean, and for the most part in the pocket. I mean, he had a couple plays where he dropped back 13 yards and got sacked. But I would say this was a better performance than usual from the offensive line.
I only gave up 2 sacks, but the O-line looked way better this game. There was a pocket for him to step up into, and to Mikey's credit, I saw him more than not actually step up. Yes, granted, we did have times where we ran the ball 13 yards backwards. And there was one play where he ran it one way, ran back across the field. I think he ran about 100 yards side, and then chucked it out of bounds. Thankfully, he did that. Numbers for Mikey: 30 for 41 for 275, 3 touchdowns, and that 1 pick. Caleb, I got to be honest here. I mean, like you said, we've seen Mikey's ceiling, but I wasn't like I'm happy that Mikey's doing well. And once again, we're doing our job, but it's nothing. There's nothing jumping off the page. There's nothing jumping out off the TV, or because I was watching TV. Nothing that I'm seeing that's like, oh, there is like this guy's legit, because were underthrowing a lot of wide receivers. To me, this game was a really good wide receiver game. Like the wide receiver room put in a lot of work. I know I'm jumping the gun here, but they bailed Mikey out a lot. They made really good catches. The ball was underthrown, a lot. And then the San Jose State DBs were bad. But I still have to say, Mikey threw 3 touchdowns, 275 yards. He didn't have 2 picks, only had 1 this time. So, and he had, I saw the number. I don't remember. How many completions did he have in a row? Do you remember? He had quite a few completions in a row.
Yeah. I mean, he started the game with, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 at least without incompletion. So, yeah, I mean, he's a very efficient passer when it's, the short and intermediate game.
Yeah. Bulldogs wanted Spartan blood. Not just for last year, but the Spartans players tried to start a fight as the two went down the ramp for pregame warmups. Did you see this?
I did. I was actually standing right there, so I wonder if Bob was standing by me. That's crazy. So if you do see me, say what's up, because I do want to meet you guys. But yeah, it was like our D line group was what I saw, and then a bigger group of San Jose, and yeah, thankfully Coach Jethro was right there in between them to make sure that nothing happened. But yes, I did actually get to witness
that. Mikey hit a lot of throws. It's Sierra Nevada Sam. He hit a lot of throws last night, played well. We made a lot of catches that maybe in prior games those catches didn't happen. That's true. I don't panic until after the second defensive series. The defense always seems to take a little to get going. Bulldogs Bob. Complete game overall after the first quarter. I can't find anything to complain about. You got to love the energy on the Bulldog sideline. Yes. Players love and believe in Skip. Yes. Did the energy in the crowd, Caleb, match the sideline?
For the most part. I mean, most of the third downs, while the game was still close, the crowd was getting into it, and on the fourth downs too. So, I mean, this was probably more like, towel swinging and throwing their arms up and trying to get hyped that I've seen on the sideline in a long time. I think that recent development in the last couple of weeks. So definitely good to see. And I think that the crowd was pretty into it too. So yeah, overall, it's definitely, some home field advantage there that the Bulldogs had.
Ricky is here. He said play calling was a little more conservative, but credit to Mikey. He kept it out of the other team's hands. And Bulldogs Bob adds, I'm fine with Keene playing like he did last night for the rest of the year. Crowd was engaged. We caused numerous false starts by the Spartans. Shout out to the bartender who got me a $6 Red Wave brew 3 minutes after the happy hour ended. Oh, what a nice guy.
Nice.
All right, Caleb, let's talk about the running game. Quick numbers. Elijah Gilliam, 15 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Jonathan Arsenault, 6 carries for 33 yards. Bryson Donaldson got 8 carries for 29. Joshua Wood, 3 for 17. Raylan Sharp did have a carry for 1 yard. And we were credited with a total of 127 yards on the ground. What did you think about the running game?
It seemed like Gilliam was like a broken tackle away almost every time from breaking a long one. So overall, I mean, he wasn't ever really getting stuffed in the backfield. And that's one of the things that I really like about Gilliam and Donaldson too. I mean, if there's a hole, they're going to hit it and they're going to get at least 2 or 3 yards rather than trying to dance and find something else. So, I mean, I do appreciate the way that they, their playing style. But yeah, overall, I can't really complain. I mean, San Jose State did do a decent job of containing the run for the most part, because certainly not our most explosive day that we've had on the ground, but it was enough balance to keep the defense honest, and Mikey was able to have some time to throw. So overall, can't complain. I mean, I guess the only complaint is I'd like to see some more carries for Donaldson, but when Gilliam is doing a serviceable job, and maybe that's not even fair. I mean, Gilliam's doing a good job of getting positive yardage just about every time he touches the ball. It's kind of hard to justify taking snaps away from him. And yeah, we did see a little bit more from Joshua Wood, being able to run the ball. So I like that. I do think that's a good wrinkle to be able to have, and having him paired up with Jonathan Arsenault. getting him in the game, because I mean, he's a name that we've been hearing about for a long time. And so, yeah, it's good to have, all those guys getting some meaningful reps. And we should give Mikey some credit. He did have a 6-yard run too. So they weren't all negative from him, but and I believe that was like a scramble for a first down too, where he ran to the sideline. So we do need to give him some credit for putting himself out there.
Yeah, he because of his sacks, he had -9 yards total, but his long was 6. Yes, it was a 6-yard rush for 4 first downs. So that was nice to see. Yeah, dude, I really like Elijah. He runs hard. He breaks tackles. He's got a really nice spin move. I really like his spin move, where he does a spin like off the guy. He hits the guy and he's spinning. He's done it twice now. I recall. I really like that. And then, dude, like Bryson, like you look at it, he's huge. Bryson is a big dude. I didn't get to watch him at CVC. I mean, I saw highlights and like he looked great. But it's one thing when you're playing against high school kids and it's not Division I high school teams. You're like, well, how is he going to compare? The dude is massive and he runs hard. He's a stud, dude. He's a freshman. There was one play he ran the ball, he bounced off a guy, and then he took a hit, and another guy came. He's falling down, and another guy hit him on the side, and he's holding the ball with one arm, which, in my opinion, would have made most freshmen fumble. But he had that thing tucked in, strong arm, strong hands, and I was impressed. I like to see it, man. And this is something that I'm not used to watching at Fresno State, watching a true freshman come in and look like the men that are out there. So that was fun to watch, I will say. And then it's nice to see Arsenault come in and get his runs as well. And I mean, heck, he averaged 5 yards a carry. He looked good. So I really like our 3 backs. Sherrod was the guy we were talking about for pretty much all preseason. He's going to be the difference maker. Well, now that he's injured, these guys have really stepped up. Like, this is a crowded room. And I remember in preseason, you said this was the most crowded room. We're starting to see it, man. That these guys are good. I'm really happy with and proud of them. They've done a good job. Would like to have a 2-back set once Sherrod is back. Open up some opportunities, maybe for both backs, Ricky says. That would be fun. Sherrod might be best catching the ball out of the backfield and running. I think Sherrod is probably our best 3rd down back in passing situations. I would agree. Robert Perez says, I still don't like how CTS smiles on the sidelines. I am older, different generation. I prefer my coach screaming at players and grabbing their face masks like they did when I was their age.
Yeah, I don't know if Skipper has that like in his personality. I think he kind of relies on Jethro to do that, because he's definitely the fire light you up guy, like for negative purposes.
Yeah, I mean, how I always look at it is the head coach is the enforcer, the yeller. And then your assistant coaches are your buddies and your friends. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. I don't think I really like Skip though. Ricky says Donaldson is the offensive epitome of shut up and hit someone. It's true. Oh, Bulldogs Bob, he's got a take. Donaldson is our most talented back since Ryan Matthews. No disrespect to Ronnie or Mims. He's a freshman in doing this. I think that's a fact that Bulldogs Bob said. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, going back to your statement about like most talented freshman, I would say most talented freshman since Ryan Matthews when he was a freshman. It was like, holy cow, who's this guy wearing number 21? Like, this guy is different. So yes, I would agree with Bob there.
Okay, we talked about the wide receivers and how they've had a great game. Here are their numbers. Jalen Moss, 6 receptions, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mac Delana, 5 receptions, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Raylan Sharp had 4 for 36. Elijah Gilliam had 5 for 32. Richie Anderson, 2 for 21. Bryson Donaldson, 4 for 7. Jordan Brown, 1 for 6. Jake Tarwater, 1 for 2. Nathan Acevedo, 2 receptions, 1 yard. 3 touchdowns through the air. I will say, Jalen Moss caught that ball on the sideline, the one that Raylan tipped, and he caught the ball. That was a catch. I don't care. I'm not being a homer. That was a catch. But I don't know what they said. They didn't have enough evidence to overturn it because they called it incomplete. But that was definitely a catch. Caleb, like I said earlier, I think this game was their best game. They made a lot of good plays, a lot of yards after catch. They went up and high pointed the ball well. I think this was the wide receiver room's best game. What's your opinion on the wide receiver this game?
I agree. Seems like before this, there was usually a couple drops that were receivers' fault, and I can't remember any of this game. There may have been, but everyone came down with the ones that they should have, and the contested ones. They can go either way. But I agree. Really strong performance for this group, especially Jalen Moss, kind of bouncing back from a weird mental game of making some mistakes. So good to see that. He seemed to be in good spirits on the sideline, so that was good to see, and seemed to be back to his normal self. I mean, Mac is as dependable as ever and making some really tough catches. It seems like he doesn't get a ton of easy ones. They're pretty much always contested, or he's getting blown up right as he's catching it. So but he's sure-handed as ever. So, and Sharp too. Really dependable. It seems like on a lot of deeper crossing routes, he tends to be open sometimes. So yeah, between the top 3 guys, that's the type of production that we need from all 3 of them.
Yeah, dude, just watching the game, we know Mikey stares down wide receivers, but he's got to get the ball out quicker because Mac was wide open a lot, and so was Jalen. All these guys. They're wide open right out of the break. Right once they make their break or they put a double move on a guy, they're open. That ball's got to be out of Mikey's hands. But they're typically second or third guy. And in the progression, and Mikey's still stuck on the first one, or the check down, and then he'll see him later. And we got to get the ball there quick on time, in stride, because it's not happening, and it's forcing them to go make tougher plays than they have to or than they should, but they are. So that's good. It's been fun. Jalen Moss gets offensive player of the game. Bulldogs Bob says wide receivers really helped Mikey out last night. Speaking of O-line, Sierra Nevada Sam, I wasn't speaking of O-line, but chat was, I guess. Bulldog Logan Mankins is a finalist. Switching the subject really quick. Logan Mankins finalist for Hall of Fame. I did see that. He should get it. Even though he never won a Super Bowl, he should get it. Derek Miller, I agree. Donaldson will be one of the best backs to ever come out of Fresno State. Bulldogs Bob. The refs were out to get us last night. Robert Perez, I hope Donaldson stays. And then Ricky, despite all the worries that this team gives me, I agree, Ricky, there are a lot. The wide receiver group is the one consistency this team has. 100%. Them and Elijah Gilliam and Bryson Donaldson, in my opinion. Anything else offensively, Caleb? By the way, we talked about
one injury of note. Jake Baust had a club on one of his hands, and he got blown up on the opening kickoff, and then I don't think he played after that. So that's why we did get to see a little bit more of Richie Anderson. And you know what? I actually liked what I saw from him because, believe it or not, he looks quicker than Beachum. So I'll take that from a receiving option as a tight end. So it looks like he's going to get some more reps. Seems like in Baust's absence, kind of tough for a tight end to not have the use of both hands. So, that's a positive development, and probably the future of the tight end room because I believe he's either true or redshirt freshman. Yeah,
I saw Brock Liam out there as well. Mm-hmm. I believe a freshman as well.
Mhm.
Richie ran tough. Like these guys that we have, tight end, wide receiver, running backs, they are not afraid to hit people. It's fun, man. Like this is kind of taking me back to old school football a little bit. Now, if we catch the rest of, we get the O-line going and the quarterback going, like, woohoo, man. No one likes tackling our guys. I'll say this. Nobody likes tackling. Tim, what's up? I see you in the chat. You're late, Tim. We're gonna fine you next time. Just kidding. I'm kidding. I was gonna add about Jalen Moss, Caleb. He still makes me nervous when he's back there catching punts. The one he fell down, I think he had 2 punt. Well, he took 2 back. He had a 20-yarder. His long was 20 yards, but I'm still nervous every time they punt the ball and Jalen's back there, man. I get nervous.
Yeah, seeing Jalen Moss field punts, I mean, he's had a couple really exciting ones too, but it makes me more appreciate when Tedford just had Ronnie Rivers back there fair catch every punt. And okay, he's not dropping it. So we're going to eliminate the possible negative plays there, but then we're, missing out on potential upsides of an exciting play. So, but yes, that's kind of the dichotomy we have with Jalen Moss as punt returner.
All right, let's talk defense, man. They did good. They did well. They held Nick Nash to 91 yards and a touchdown. Most of it came from that first catch. I was happy with the defense. Only gave up 10 points. The first one touchdown in the game. You talked about it when we first got on, but talk to me about this defense. Maybe someone in particular you enjoyed watching.
Yeah, and the point on Nick Nash too, I think he had like 15 targets too. So I think that's a big deal too, that there were contested throws that the defense was able to break up. And it seemed like a lot of the time it was someone like, because he mostly lines up at slot. So a lot of times it was 17 Jakari Embry who was lining up on him, which made me a little nervous just because he's, less experienced player. But for the most part, he did a good job. And I mean, all 3 of the corners, Julian Neal and Cam and Alzillian, I mean, they all did a very good job. And I mean, they get beat a couple times here and there, but I mean, nothing really that broke the game open. So secondary played extremely well today. And thankfully they caught every interception that they should have. And, they were right in their chest almost every time. So, so that was very funny to be on the receiving end of all the interceptions.
Oh man, the Cam Lockridge pick was, I don't know, miscommunication or what, but it was right to him. Like I said, Cam was the Eagles' favorite receiver out there. No, I was very happy with the defense. Malachi led the team once again in tackles with 8. Cam had 2. Alzillian had 1. Alzillian, I think, is going to be made fun of for not taking that one all the way back. It looked like he was jogging. And then Julian had 1 as well. So 4 total picks. Sacks, we had 2 sacks. Dean had 1, and Alzillian had the other one, I believe. So DB's coming up with the sack. We did have pressure, I would say, from a lot of the night. I was happy. I'm happy with them. I don't know if there's not much I can say. Like, we did our job against a bad performing San Jose State offense. I'm getting to the chat. Bulldogs Bob, I hate catching punts in general. True. Tim, you should sponsor a punt catching exhibition at Givali for fans. I'm down. Who's going to kick it, though? I punted in high school. I'll do it. I can't kick high, though. I can't kick high or far. Just kick it out of bounds. That's what I did. You can't return it. Spartans were confused by our coverage after the first drive, and the D-line was getting constant pressure, Bulldogs Bob says. Yes, I agree. We mixed it up. Spencer's here. How's it going? Good to see you, Spencer. Ricky, give MVP to the whole defense last night. Yes, I'll do that. That's fine with me. Honestly, Caleb and I were talking about who are we going to give player to the game to. I was most impressed with Foreman. I was in the student section. I saw that every time he was on the field, he was getting either doubled or chipped, which was nice to see. Foreman is a presence. He demands doubles. The offense feels him. I'll leave it there because he did a great job. Ken Griffey Jr. Was there, and Ken Griffey Sr. Caleb, did you get to run over? I know they're in a booth, so you didn't sneak up there.
No, I did not. I was content in my usual seat.
Okay, here we go. Bulldogs Bob. One thing that annoyed me was the Spartan coach calling timeouts after he went for the field goal in the fourth. He waved the white flag. What was he doing?
Very fair point. If you're kicking a sad field goal down by 4 touchdowns in the second half, then yeah, that's kind of a weird look to then think you're still in the game. But whatever.
Yeah. Before we get to other things real quick, and I forget, Dylan Lynch 2 for 2 with a 48-yarder. Hey, Dylan looked good after I think he missed. Forget what game he missed in. It was one of our losses. Might have been the UNLV game or the Washington State game where he missed 2.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been good since then. Any thoughts on Dylan or Clay?
Yeah, Dylan had a couple good kicks. I mean, it helps to have a good snap and a good hold too. It seems to be a good formula for Dylan to be able to put it through the uprights. Lawrence was fine. I mean, didn't have any big blunders. I mean, it seems like his max kick yardage right now is like 40 yards, which isn't going to be a huge weapon, but he's putting it in a good place where the punt team is going to be able to cover it, or if we're in far enough territory, he can pin them down deep. So he's still a freshman, a lot to learn and get stronger. So yeah, no complaints on the kicking game.
Yeah, so overall, Caleb, I would say we did our job. We won the game. It's a rivalry game. We expect other teams' best. We dominated. I mean, San Jose State looked bad. We made them look bad. They did not execute well, and we win. So now we're 5-3 overall, 3-1 in the conference. We currently sit 4th in the conference behind Boise, Colorado State, or are we 5th? San Diego State and UNLV, because UNLV has a tiebreaker over us. Going into the remaining schedule, what are your thoughts on this team? That's 2 games in a row now. Like, can we call this a winning streak?
Oh, totally. Yeah, we have multiple wins in a row here, and only three conference games left, and all 3 are certainly winnable. And at this point, that's all the Dogs can worry about. We're going to have to get some help with UNLV catching another loss and that's going to be tough because they have not a super difficult schedule ahead of them. But I mean, I would expect San Diego State to catch a loss here in front of us. And I mean, if we beat Colorado State, we're taking care of that, opponent ahead of us too. So it's got to be 1 week at a time. I mean, Hawaii at home, I'm glad we get them at home. And I mean, honestly, like at Air Force, even though they're really down this year, it just seems like a game that tends to trip up the Dogs. And, that game time hasn't been released yet. So, I mean, if that's like a 7:30, 30-degree game in Colorado, that could be challenging. But
I hope it is. I hope it is, Caleb.
Okay.
Let's run the ball.
Yeah, true. But I mean, 3 definitely beatable opponents, and as long as we take care of our business, we just have to let the rest of the schedule play out on its own.
Yeah. Before I forget, Caleb, player of the game.
For an offensive player, I think I'll take Jalen Moss. A 2-touchdown day is a bigger day for a wide receiver, and he made some really good plays. and even one that didn't count in the stat sheet. So good bounce back game for him, and two touchdowns, big performance.
I agree. I think Elijah also kept the defense honest. Scored a touchdown, only 56 yards on the ground, but granted, you could say all the running backs did well. Arsenault, 33 yards on 6 carries. Donaldson, 29 on 8. We kept the defense honest. So I'm really happy with the running game. Jalen Moss, definitely though, offensive player of the game. I think player of the game overall. And then defensively, like Ricky said, we'll give it to the whole defense, but stand out Cam Lockridge. Okay, play of the game. Who do you have? What play are you thinking makes this? There were a lot of good ones.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think probably the first interception that kind of, changed some momentum around. I think that was Julian. Was that Julian Neal, the one that was in the end zone? I can't remember. But I feel like that was like a big momentum changer to where San Jose was driving, and then we got the pick. Okay, let's turn this around, and then we only got a field goal off of that one. But I feel like this was a big momentum game, and thankfully the Bulldogs were able to maintain that for the most part. And all credit to the defense for making big plays to put the offense in good scoring position.
I'm going to take Magdalena's 35-yard touchdown off the first drive in the second half, because that put us up 27-7. And I think kind of put the game away. And I said, okay, we have this under control. So I was happy with that one. I also could say Cam Lockridge's pick after the turnover on downs, because I thought, oh boy, we're up 27-7, and could this be a little comeback? And then Cam had the pick, and we go down and score 4 plays later. So probably those 2 plays, Max touchdown, and Cam Lockridge's second pick, I believe. Or was that his first pick? Yeah, the first pick.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up that turnover on downs, because that felt like a possible defining moment of the game, where if San Jose was able to figure out the offense and make a comeback, we'd look back and see, oh man, we should have just taken some points there. So thankfully the defense held their ground and did their job. But that was kind of a weird call, I thought. If you're up by that amount, maybe just take some points and don't get too greedy. But it is a rivalry game, and I think they were trying to be aggressive and really stomp on them and make sure that there was no way they were coming back in that game.
Yeah. Before we hit up the Mountain West scoreboard, I moved too fast. Ricky says, Dylan proved the doubters wrong. I was one of them. Sierra Nevada Sam could have a situation where Colorado State has 1 loss, Fresno has 1 loss, and UNLV has 1 loss. That one less Mountain West game because of Pac-12 agreement might end up being crucial. Yes. San Diego State has to play UNLV and Boise still. Yeah, they're not going to win those games. That's going to be 2 losses. UNLV has to travel to the island, which could be interesting. Come on, Hawaii. Ricky, winnable games. Just don't look too far ahead like last year. I agree. Yep. Let's take care of Hawaii. We have a chance to go on a winning streak, Bulldogs Bob says. If we play like we did last night, we will win all 3 conference games left. I agree with that. I believe UNLV will lose 1 game in conference. They are very undisciplined. You never know what Hajj Malik Williams is going to do, what side of the bed he's going to wake up on. And Bulldog Born says Hawaii has a gunsling quarterback. So they have UNLV has a good defense, but you never know what's going to happen. Bulldogs Bob, offensive player of the game is Jalen Moss. And his first touchdown was play of the game. Cam was the defensive player of the game. Hugo GV, way to go, Bulldogs fan, for making a great showing. Welcome to the show, Hugo. Play of the game for me was the Hamilton interception. Derek says, should have taken it all the way back. Alzillion. I think it was 60 some yards. I don't know if he was gassed, but to me, it looked like he was jogging. I don't know. Here, Robert asks, do you guys think that with NIL money, we will see less players' pride about playing at a certain college whenever they state their alma maters during pro games? Oh, I see. Yes. No. They'll have pride in the one that paid them the most. I don't know. Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Bob just bait me to say something bad about the player that broke my heart. So I'm just gonna leave that alone.
What is Evan Williams saying?
Exactly.
Guys who go to a Fresno State are not after the money, Bulldogs Bob says. Yep. But they are looking at money. Do you guys think that Spartan troll Ricky Delgado was saying, what do you guys think about Spartan troll Ricky Delgado saying next before and after the game? Did you respond to him? I didn't see him. I will check that out, Bulldogs Bob. I don't.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So yeah, if you can tag us in it, that'd be fine. Then we can add some insult to his injury.
What I love about 2 wins in a row is how much more quiet the haters were online. Not as many people wanting to set themselves on fire. More positive vibes. Yeah. So this is the hardest part for me, Sam, is when you lose, there is like, I don't know how to put it, Caleb. When you lose, like, it's very apparent what is wrong. And so it's easy to call it out and you just hope they improve. So I understand what the haters, quote haters, I don't, are saying when by playing. The haters I don't understand are the ones that attack like have personal attacks. Like, this is a game, remind you. Well, granted, people are making, like, players are making money now and things like that, but this is a game. It's supposed to be enjoyable for all of us. Like, the cool thing about Beware of Bulldogs is that, like, we talk about a game and then we have Boise fans that join the chat and talk about Fresno State football because it's a game and we just enjoy football. Like, that's, and basketball and water polo and, and stuff. So anyways, I don't like, but I get you could call it hate on, 10 interceptions. I kind of get that. Ricky said, looked at Twitter and no one said a single word despite the W. When Fresno State loses, the whole valley feels it. You can say that about you can't say that about the Bay Area and La Basin. Basin. Yet another response. Why this is the only college football hotbed in the state. I agree. I can guarantee you, no one's talking about this San Jose State loss right now in what they call the Silicon Valley. All right, Caleb, let's get to the scoreboard. Unless there's anything else on this game that you want to touch on.
Yeah, I think we just about covered it. I mean, this is a game that, thankfully we took care of business at home. And this is the type of performance that we should have at home when we have all the advantages. And especially going up against a new coach. I mean, that's maybe something that's been overlooked on San Jose, this year. But I mean, new coach, new system, new players, and everything. So Fresno State did have, most of the team hold over from the Tedford era. So, or I guess all the team. So, and San Jose's remaining schedule is also very difficult. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go on a decent losing streak here.
Yeah, well, especially after this game, I mean, they were not very impressive at all. Okay, Mountain West scoreboard, the big game Friday night, Boise State UNLV. Boise State won 29-24. I mean, you could kind of say Ashton Jainty had a quiet night, 33 carries, 128 yards, and a touchdown. The dude is insane, man. Mm-hmm. He's crazy. Did you get to watch this game, Caleb?
I watched the first half, which was good, and it was surprising how well UNLV was able to contain Genty. I mean, he's still explosive and was able to kind of manufacture some stuff, but I mean, they really had to rely on Maddox Madsen to carry that offense. It seemed like so, and yeah, just wasn't quite enough offense from UNLV. I think Boise is, obviously they're undefeated in conference play, and they are a very good team in our conference.
You think he's a Heisman winner?
I think he's going to need to put up some more 200-yard games like here on out. I mean, if he's still like 130 every game, I don't think that's going to be enough.
Okay, I think he's the Heisman winner. Like, I'm giving him the Heisman. I mean, Travis Hunter is legit. He's very good. But what Ashton Jeanty is doing is, like, I mean, I guess they're both. It's just a bummer that both of those guys are playing at the same time and having the year they're having, because they are both extremely fun to watch. But I'd like to see actually Jeanty win it, even though he is at Boise. I know, but for Mountain West and D5 purposes, I'd like to see Jeanty win it. And he's just really good. He's very good. Colorado State beat New Mexico 17-6. They put up 17 points in the second quarter, failed to score the rest of the game, still won. We play Colorado State later on in the season. I mean, I don't like after this game, like Colorado State is very, very much like Fresno State as where they play up and down. So it's hard to know what Rams team we're going to get. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, this is a beatable team. Very beatable.
Yes, definitely.
Did you see anything on this game?
No, watched nothing.
Utah State beat Wyoming on a game-winning field goal. As time expired, they kicked the field goal to win, 27-25. These teams aren't good. I just think it's hilarious, Caleb. I didn't watch any of this game. I think it's hilarious that Petrus, who came from Iowa, is throwing the ball 40 times a game in Logan. But I mean, their running back ran for 130 yards. These teams are bad. Did you get to catch this game?
No, thankfully, no. This was a battle of the stinkers. That I'm glad that we. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be nice if we played either of these teams, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know that would have been nice. Washington State beat San Diego State 29-26. San Diego State was up in this game, Caleb, and then in the fourth quarter kind of fell apart. But this is not a bad San Diego State team. I'm kind of happy I wish we played them, but since we're not playing them, I'm happy we're not going to play them because it could be a tough game, even though they have a young quarterback. I don't know, you have any thoughts on San Diego State?
Yeah, I think that they are a little bit more dangerous than I thought they would be. Still not a super potent, high-scoring offense. I think they'll build up to that, but they're building the blocks here, making the foundation for their program. It seems like Washington State is just kind of getting away with a handful of victories. I mean, obviously our dogs should have beat them. San Diego State had a chance to beat them. San Jose should have beaten them. So, kind of an overinflated 7-1 record for the Cougars.
Yeah, I agree. They're deceiving 7-1. How about this? Hawaii beat Nevada 34-13. But this is the fun part. Shager, their quarterback, had 120 yards on the ground and 4 tutties on the ground.
I mean, that is dangerous. I mean, I think that was one of the benefits that Fresno State didn't have to worry about a mobile quarterback against San Jose. I mean, their QBs were slow. And, I mean, that's where Fresno State can get into some trouble. And that's obviously what we have to look forward to, this coming week when Hawaii comes to town. So, very interesting game. And I didn't see the Nevada starter play at all. So I think he still had some holdover injury from when we knocked him out of the previous game. So hopefully that guy recovers. But yeah, seems like Nevada's a bit of a different offense when they don't have their QB1.
So I'm trying to scroll back up. 1 win away from being bowl eligible, Sam says. That's big time. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Everything else comes from the enemy. How true that is. That's biblical right there. Bulldog born. I think that's when we were talking about haters. I'm assuming. Well, Ricky, we'll say it again. UNLV is a scarier team to me than Boise. Ooh. Caleb, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, after getting whooped by UNLV, certainly is dangerous. But, I mean, now that there's plenty of tape out on Williams, I think that most defensive coordinators are going to be able to put together a game plan that's going to keep them, 30 points or under. So, as long as you have a competent offense, you should be able to keep up. But they are very explosive. And I think that just having Genty on Boise, I mean, they don't really have any weapons at wide receiver, talking about Boise now, but I mean, they have, the best running back in the country. So I think that you kind of have to favor them over, over UNLV.
I'm actually going to I'm going to go with Ricky here. I agree. There's only one player on Boise I fear. That's Genty. You could stop him. UNLV proved that. You just got to be able to score points. If they scored 30 points, they win that game.
Yeah.
UNLV, there's 4 players I would say that I'm worried about. Their quarterback, 2 wide receivers, and a running back. And even Ricky White on special teams. He's been blocking punts like a madman. So, yeah, I actually agree with Ricky here. All right, so we're split. UNLV at Hawaii is a possible L. Let's see. Genty is clearly the best player in the game, and everyone knows it. But the Heisman isn't about who the best player is. True. Not since Ndamukong Suh didn't win it. Genty winning it would help the rebuilt pack. And I saw back the pack in here. Genty for Heisman, back the pack. No way they're giving Genty the Heisman. Not a big enough school. From Bud. What's going on, Bud? I agree. I mean, I don't think they give it to him. I think if it's close, they give it to Hunter just because bigger conference. It's Colorado in prime. That's going to they're going to make so much money doing that, whoever it is making the money. But I agree. Genty is the guy right now, in my opinion. It shouldn't matter where a player plays. Genty is legit. I saw a stat, by the way, that you are more. If you stay at your school, the players that stay at their school get drafted higher. So, like at a G5 school, or I hate that. I hate putting a title on it, but that's what has happened. The schools that get left out of TV contracts, that's if you stay there, you're more likely to get drafted higher than if you transfer to a P4. So, I mean, I think Evan Williams would have got drafted if he stayed at Fresno State.
I agree.
Every poll I have seen from fans online have Genty as the best player in the public's mind. He should win it, but I doubt the media will give a rebuilt pack that legitimacy. Media will always be East Coast bias. Voters even admit it. Ricky. Caleb, I want to ask you about this because I went to New Orleans during the football season, and it is so. I mean, it's just they're crazy over there. And I have my cousins are Georgia Bulldog fans. They're crazy. My most viral tweet is Tennessee fans coming after me. They're insane. Like these people are insane. But the West Coast, we get to watch every game. Right? This is the great thing. It starts at 9 a.m. It goes all day. We see every player. I'm more inclined to believe a West Coast fan on their opinion because they see everything more than an East Coast fan because they don't see it. They see half of the truth, which is, I mean, if it's 99% true, it's still false. So I'm more inclined to trust the West Coast people. What Ricky said is very true, and it bugs me. I try not to let these things bug me, but it bugs me, Caleb. I don't know. You have any thoughts on all that stuff?
Yeah, that's always been a problem. I mean, when our games, I mean, even the Boise UNLV game, I think it started at 7:30 on Friday night. So, I mean, only the diehards are going to stay up, if they're not living in the Pacific time zone. I mean, only the diehards are going to stay up and watch that, or the gamblers. So, it's just not super likely that, all the voters are actually going to watch meaningful snaps for, a guy like Genty.
Because some can't handle another New Mexico Bowl appearance, Caleb, any thoughts on how a change to the Pac-12 might move us away from our Hawaii-New Mexico Potato Bowl history? Any new opportunities? This is from Sierra Nevada Sam.
I am perfectly fine with that. I think, if we can maybe see some other parts of the country and actually attract some fans to travel for it, I think that would be welcome. I mean, nothing personally against Albuquerque. But yeah, I just don't think people are super stoked to go there. I mean, Boise is nice, and especially, I mean, if you like the snow or skiing, I mean, that might be a fun place to go to. But boy, the turf is terrible to watch too. So if we can get away from that, I'd be happy with that too.
I would love new opportunities. I'm just one of those fans, Caleb. It's just so hard to get up and get excited to play a bowl game against a team that half their team is sitting out of. Like, as a player, like, I'll get up and get ready, but as a fan, like, man, it's frustrating. Ricky, actually, good point here. He still thinks that Watson would be a draft prospect if he stayed here. True. I fortunately haven't heard much. I haven't heard a thing. So, Tulane is in New Orleans. Bulldogs Bob said, "You want them in the pack?" Yes, and especially as an excuse to go there. Oh man, I would love to go get beignets or every other year. That'd be great. SEC breathes football, but can't experience prime Pac-12 after dark football.
So,
yes. Will different bowls be a part of a media deal? I saw this. People are. This has been going around. I don't know, Caleb. I don't think so. Maybe possibly, but I just don't know. I would love to see that though.
I mean, the only thing I know about this is that ESPN owns all the bowls, and so I mean, I don't think they're going to want to give away, that revenue and filling the TV calendar too. I mean, they get to have a live athletic event in primetime every night, just about. So it seems like they're not going to want to give that up. I mean, unless it's replaced with some sort of maybe supplemental postseason tournament or something, but I doubt that's going to happen.
How about the Raisin Bowl? We need to bring the Raisin Bowl back. I mean, more likely be the Almond Bowl or the Pistachio Bowl, but we need a bowl game in Fresno. Like, we truly have a bowl. Mm-hmm. We should be playing here. I don't know if you could fill it, but I would go. It would be fun.
Yeah, I would go.
Yeah. All right, man. In I think 2 weeks or so, we got basketball coming up with the Dogs get Hawaii next. I can't promise you. I can't promise anything anymore. I've been really bad about promises. No promising. Baby's due soon. Who knows when? What's going to happen? We're playing it by ear. My plan is to have a preview for the Hawaii game, and we were trying to get Jackson on this past week, but everything didn't work out. Excuse me. Come here, bud. Come here. He wants to say hi. This is true. This is my 2-year-old. He's going to be joining us as a host soon. So along with Caleb's newborn. So we're going to have plenty of people to talk soon. So, all right, Caleb, I'm going to put this guy to bed. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate all the support. And I mean, like this is the section. This is the community for diehards. So make sure you all get each other's numbers. Meet up. We need to do a meetup, tailgate, something. We need to do something with Beware Bulldogs. I got to be better about this, but we need to do something because this is a great community that we have here. We appreciate you guys. Hey, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And as always, Truett, can I get a go dogs? Say go dogs. Oh boy, we got to work on this. He's nervous. This is his first time. All right.
Go Dogs.
Go dogs, everybody. Thank you.